How you feel about Drake? Because to me, there's a lot of people they be calling him a culture vulture, but it'd be like, yo, y'all never been to Canada before. Canada is mixed, so to me, it's kind of hard to call him like I don't feel like he is a culture vulture to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Because
so I look at things like this: Manute Bo or Matumbo from Africa.
mm-hmm.
Where he live at in Africa, they speak up to 72 dialects. So the brain, if the brain is capable of speaking 72 dialects, right? If you hang around 72 different people from 72 different countries and you hang out with them all the time, you know, as humans, we psychologically and sociologically adapt to who we hang out with. Especially Ed said in the song, I'm not a Puerto Rican, but I'm speaking so that you know. It's just a dialect that I select when I hang. All of us pick up dialects from who we hang around with the most. After a while, starts to
And he from Brooklyn, so it's like you know how
Brooklyn's no different from like Toronto.
Yeah,
there's the same mix up, and blend up. When you hear so many dialects, it's just a frequency. I look at dialects as frequency to me. It's what you frequently hear to resonate with someone, to relate with what they're used to relate to them. We going if he's speaking Spanish all the time, I'm trying to like, and I want to connect with him and his DOS computer language of how what he understands as the input. I'm gonna have to switch the keyboard into Spanish mode to make sure there's accent on certain words so he could receive what I'm trying to input.
And it's more comfortable.
Correct.
Yeah.
I look at Drake is just using his ability of delivery and frequency. But I've also been to Canada in the early 2000s, and I learned that a lot of Canadians had a chip on their shoulder because they felt that they lived above Niagara waterfalls right over New York.
Yeah.
And I felt like they felt like, yo, all these New Yorkers are coming over. No different from like when you watch Casino. You see Joe Pesci when all the Italian New Yorkers was moving out to the Midwest, taking over Las Vegas and Nevada.
That's funny. I was just watching.
Yeah, and when they come over there, they're like, yeah, you don't understand. You're just a visitor. You know, we'll send you right back. Like you coming in like you running shit. I remember hearing Canadians kind of talk like that about New Yorkers. And crazy. These kids from Edmonton, from the West Coast side, invited me on a song called Crazy World. They were fans of Born Americans. They heard Nothing to Gusso. They were like, yo, this dude had a voice similar to like Barrington Levy and the early singers from reggae. And they were big fans of Barrington Levy. So they got me and Barrington on a project. They flew me to Edmonton. I did the record with them. I had problems with immigration and customs. So I came up with a song. I came up with a hook to their track. I'm like, yo, before you cross the border, you better have your shit in order because Ronnie Place, they don't play. The immigration and customs gave me a problem because they were like, yo, there's no work permit for you here. So you got to like, before you come in here. So when I left from Edmonton and started doing shows in Toronto, I move real stealth and I move real incognito. I don't really walk with this, you know who I am? Kiss the Ring. I'm kind of a big deal. I've been highly advertised on all these networks. How you know who my song is. I keep quiet, walk with my head down with a big stick, stand in the back. I whip it out when it needs to be. I stand in line at most clubs. I don't walk up and be like, yo, I ain't trying to stand in line. You know who I am? I just stand in line. I made a song called VIP, Giant about the line, get back, see somebody time. I know how people think about artists who come up and try to like bogart and use their celebrity status to abuse it. They're like, yo, I'm a big deal. I'm gonna spend a lot of money. Yeah, you know, I got a long line, but you know who I am? They regular people. That's not my mindset. So I've heard the grumblings of Canadians feeling like, yo, we gotta show these New York dudes that we just as thorough as them, just as gangsters as them. We got swag like them, if not more. And just because they talk the way they talk and they think we talk weird with A and switching from patois to regular Cajuanic way of white boy speaking, but flip the patois and then all of a sudden try to mimic like as if they from New York. I noticed they had a chip on their shoulder. And I think Drake is Canada's get back at all the years of them feeling like they had to be in the shadow of this whole New York dominance. And I think he took everybody by surprise. He started out in an R&B group. with my homegirl Melanie Fiona, singing, like using. He went from the actor in the wheelchair, the friendly guy, the visually friendly, non-threatening, non-hood guy, non-New York. I grew up in the sticks. I grew up in the hood. You know what it is. I gotta be on my alpha shit. Anybody gonna son me? No, nice guy. Like, yeah, from the acting into the not acting to now the legato delivery of seducing you with acting with the singing to then I'm gonna slip a little bit of that. I want Lil Wayne to know who I am. Trey Songz, yo, I got a collab with Lil Wayne. I bought the acapella from somebody was selling acapella from Lil Wayne. I'm a full Trey and believing I'm already out there. I'm doing good, and then Trey connects them together, and then all of a sudden now he's on, and then now he's channeling people that's from New Orleans, and then he's channeling people from New York, and he's a great channeler.
Yeah.
But he's an actor turned. Most great actors can mimic people and they can channel a lot. And anybody they're around will sociologically influence them.
Yeah.
And Drake wants to I think Drake always wanted to just be more relatable to everybody. And he saw that his acting, his singing, and his mimicking ability, it allows him to cloak and become whomever, whatever, to relate to you. He's always trying to relate to women. If you're a light-skinned dude, you're putting the light-skinned pretty boy, non-threatening man, be a lover boy. Try play with all that hard shit. And you're like, you ain't hard like that. So all his records, he has a frequency for that. Then he has a frequency where he has a chip on his shoulder. I'm gonna show these down south dudes, I'm gonna show these New York dudes. I can relate to them on their level and talk like them and rap like them. And if there's a young upcoming artist who has an original flow that a cadence he might run into, he might be like Steve Jobs. He might be on some, yo, I'm too big to fail, so why don't I go ahead and cheat and I could do what he does and do exactly what he does, but make it sound better because I have a singing voice, I got more melody in me, I know what it is. I could take his shit and make it sound better, like XX.
Yeah.
I think he thinks like the owner of Apple at one point. I'm gonna take the small guy and expand my business by mimicking the small guy and then get his audience. So if you want to call the fact that his mother is a Jewish woman of the Jewish background and his father is a Black American, but if he was more like carbon sulfated and was raised in the suburbs and raised like very, very, very middle of Canada whiteness and had blandness to him, and they have footage of all that, if they have footage of all that, and all of a sudden he used his acting to now he's losing himself in the act. He's losing himself in even all his dialect that he could like or relate to everybody, where he doesn't even know who he is anymore. And people start to break down his story. Of course, he can appear to be like a culture vulture, bro. But he's showing us the future of what every artist is capable of doing now, and what every artist is going to be expected to do now before they make the AI version of us.
That's what they're doing.
Before they make the AI version of it that can do the different language, where the AI does use your voice, put in a different language, and now it's the tech that's supposed to be vulturing the culture that you want to relate to or get sales from. He's just showing the human version of it. I did it back when I was in Born Americans. I did it like I channeled every singer my father played around me.
Yeah.
I channeled every singer, but I wasn't like Drake, where I think Drake would never show the magic trick how he arrives at his. He doesn't show. Everyone's exposes where he gets everything from, where it almost makes it seem like he's shiesty, almost makes it like he's greedy to be at the top, and he will vulture in on a small to get somewhere and mimic them to beat them with their own shit and get a bigger fan base with it, or get their fan base and take it to the next level. I was just trying to reintroduce something of the old for a new generation, and I told everybody who I got all my shit from. I put it on my album covers. I put it on the linear credits. When I do interviews, I tell everybody, yo, I get my shit from this singer, that singer, that singer, that singer. And when everybody listens, they're like, yo, you're right. You're like the best culmination of them all. I was like, I got a quick debriefing and a crash course of all these singers through you. And one time, no different from R. Kelly, no different from Michael Jackson. Some of the greatest artists are the greatest mimickers and greatest channelers. And we can relate to people on many different levels, but the key is for us not to get lost in all these different abilities where we lose our own. Exactly. What are we supposed to offer? You feel me? People don't. I got checked on stage. I don't know if Drake gets checked. Drake's so big, people be too scared to check him on stage live and be like, yo, what about you? We heard you channel Future. We heard you channel Wayne. We heard you channel all these. Well, who are you? They did it to me on stage in the 90s. And a performance in Connecticut, my hometown.